Welcome back to another episode of Raw Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, we're going to be breaking down some film on T-Mac's first game, preseason debut, man. So let's get straight into it. So I'm excited for this draft for Bryce Young because now it gives Bryce Young a consistent number one presence, and it gives him that he's down there guy. And what does I mean by that? So basically, you got a guy with T-Mac. When you have a guy that's as big as he is and as explosive as he is, you have an option of saying, you know what, if we got one-on-one coverage, he down there somewhere. I'm going to just lob the ball up and he going to go get it. So right here, you got a 1st and 10 play. You look at T-Mac split. He's kind of lined up a little bit. He's lined up right kind of like not necessarily on the numbers, but a little bit closer to the numbers than he normally would be. And if you notice too, he's also lined up on the field side, so that as well, it gives him more room to work with, obviously. So most of the time, you know that when you catching a receiver with a tighter split, especially if they're on the field side, is to try to create some separation to get for them to go outside. So they're like right here, they pretty much just run a fade route. Bryce Young does a good job. The corner actually played this really as good as you can play it. Realistically, he did. Bryce Young just did a good job at just being able to put the ball on the outside shoulder of T-Mac, and T-Mac just did a good job at being able to track the ball, making the catch, and making sure that his feet was inbound. So once again, like I said, man, that gives him that consistent number one presence, and hopefully this is foreshadowing of what we will see all year long between Bryce Young and T-Mac. All right, so we got a 2nd and 9 play right here. So for me, this is what I'm looking for, right, when I'm watching T-Mac. Even though it's preseason, I get it. He's not going up against the starting corners, but still just the mentality. So to consider yourself an elite receiver in the NFL, you have to be able to win one-on-one matchups with the opposing team's best corner. So let's just say if this was a regular season game, he would have been matched up on Denzel Ward, who is a phenomenal corner. When we get those one-on-one matchups, can we rely on you to win those matchups, right? So I do love the aggressiveness from the Panthers and from Bryce Young and T-Mac, and this is something that I'm glad that they're able to kind of get going now. That way they can have some level of foundations already started and just build off of it going into the regular season, because we all know that T-Mac is going to be a big part of this offense. So you look at the corner is playing off. I'm talking about far off. So I'm assuming that he's that fearful of T-Mac getting in behind him. But the thing about T-Mac, even though I know on this play right here, he doesn't get the opportunity to run after the catch just because the defense swarmed on him, that we know that he's not just a explosive player downfield wise that just catch deep passes like the one we just seen. He's also one of those guys who can catch a simple route like that and take it to the house as well. So right here, we got a red area possession, man. Y'all, if you watch my videos regularly, you know how I always emphasize the importance of the red area. When you get to the red area, you want to come up with points. Every point, every drive, every possession down there, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, it's got to have it moments. It does not matter. So right here, man, T-Mac does a good job. And for one, they just got to match up one-on-one on the outside with him in the corner. And once again, it goes back to what I just said previously. Can you win those matchups one-on-one? And you won this matchup, part of it, but part of it is securing the catch as well. One part of it is getting open. But at the end of the day, all that does nothing. Even the route that you ran, it does no good if you don't catch the ball, right? And I know that this preseason and, things are going to get better, but, we just got to try to capitalize on those opportunities when we get them. But he does a good job at selling that. The corner, kind of jumped outside and was just trying to maintain outside leverage. And I think he just got a little bit too much outside, and T-Mac just was able to cut it back in. But it was also a good pass by Bryce Young, too. And Bryce Young really kind of threw that. He threw that to an extent with anticipation. And I think that T-Mac probably wasn't expecting it to be coming as fast as it was as well. But you got to realize, though, Bryce Young is looking at that safety. He's looking at the safety number 33, but he's taking your safety in consideration. So if I throw this ball with anticipation, that means before he's even open, the ball is going to him. So it's a lot harder for the defenders to react. But if I wait until he gets open, as soon as I see him open, the defender sees him open, and that gives him an opportunity to either, 1, knock his helmet off his head, or 2, be able to make a play on the ball, whether it be a pass breakup or interception. So that's one of those gotta-have-it moments right there for T-Mac. All right, so right here, man, we got the last play. So I know a lot of people probably gonna say, man, Rob, man, he got hit or he was coming across the middle. Man, I'm gonna tell you 2 things. If you play football, I play receiver and I play corner, right? And if you play receiver, it's 2 things that your coach told you, whether it was your wide receiver coach or it was your offensive coordinator. For 1, if that ball touches your hands, it's supposed to be caught. For 2, once you go across the middle, catch the ball because you're going to get hit anyways. And that's exactly what happened right here. So right here, man, we got another drop by him on the 2nd and 7. And like I say, man, you know, those 2 drops right there were very vital. You know, the 1 drop, that was a touchdown catch, right? And the 2nd drop right here, you know, that was a catch to put them to make the 3rd down attempt so much easier. So I know a lot of people probably looking at it like, well, you still got 3rd down. Okay, yeah, but now you're looking at 3rd and 7 opposed to maybe 3rd and inches. Right. So now with 3rd and 7, you have to try to become so much more creative because it's much harder to get those 7 yards than it would have been to get those inches. So like I say, football is a game of inches, man. So all of those inches and all those yards matter. So those one of those situations, especially if you are the number 1 guy, if you are the number 1 receiver, once again, like I said, the expectation is going to be pretty high on you. And when we get those matchups that we desire, we expect you to come up with them, you know. But like I said, man, it's preseason. You know, he has to get into rhythms of things. You know, you got the first drive for the first few possessions where you had Bryce Young throwing to him. Now you got Andy Dalton throwing to him right there. And then, you know, obviously you're not going to really go above and beyond in terms of the offensive play calling. You're going to really keep it simple just to kind of get those guys into the flow of the game and being able to adjust from college to high school, because from college to the NFL, my bad, because that is a pretty big adjustment, you know. But I think things are going to be okay. You know, obviously, you know, what I said, you know, what I think T-Max brings, he gives them a consistent, you know, it just depends on if he can be what we expect him to be. He would give them a consistent number 1 option. Also, he gives them an explosive down the field option that can really stretch defenses vertically and even stretch them horizontally too. He also gives them those big play capabilities too, where it's not just downfield. It can be off of wide receiver screens. It can be off slants. It can be off of hitches. You know, the great ones, the receivers that's that explosive, they can take anything and make something out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see his development. I'm curious to see the connection that him and Bryce Young are going to build off of this game, going through practice, the next game, leading up into the regular season, and see how that whole situation right there play out for him. But man, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that you got that notification bell turned on, that way you be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.